liftoff. Majestic liftoff. Cartosat-2 has been injected.
Hello and welcome to the special program. I'm Gautam Roy and we're doing this because ISRO has done it again. Yes, the Indian Space Research Organization has made history today by placing 20 satellites in space from Sriharikota with a single launch. The satellites placed into orbit include India's latest Earth observation Cartosat-2 Series Satellite. The other 19 satellites are from the US, Canada, Germany, even Indonesia, as well as one satellite each from Chennai's Satyabama University and College of Engineering, Pune.
0 + 1 + 2.
Another record feat by India's space scientists. Indian Space Research Organization successfully launched 20 satellites in a single mission, including 2 student satellites from Indian universities and 4 foreign countries. Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle or PSLV C-34, carrying India's latest Earth observation satellite, Cartosat-2, along with 19 co-passengers from countries such as US, Canada, Germany and Indonesia, lifted off from the Satish Dhawan Space Center at 9:26 a.m. Chennai, Satyabama University and College of Engineering, Pune also added a satellite each. The entire launch mission was 26 minutes long.
Let me congratulate the entire ISRO team for the wonderful job they have done in ensuring that we have been able to successfully put all the 20 satellites in a record time.
President Pranab Mukherjee congratulated the Indian Space Research Organization for its feat. In a message to ISRO chairman, the president said, images received from the Cartosat-2 satellite will be useful in providing scene-specific spot imagery that can be used for detailed mapping and other cartographic applications, as well as applications in land information system and geographical information system. Congratulating ISRO, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that our space program has time and again shown the transformative potential of science and technology in people's lives. Over the years, we developed expertise and capability to help other nations in their space initiatives. This is the skill of our scientists. The 725.5 kg weighing Cartosat-2 Series Satellite would be used for Earth observation. According to ISRO, the imagery sent by the satellite will be useful for mapping urban and rural applications, coastal land use and regulation and road networking. Bureau Report, DD News.
Velocity required for orbit.
ISRO has broken its own record that it set in 2008 of launching 10 satellites at the same time, and now ISRO's launch has put India in the category of countries providing low-cost services for satellite launches. Many countries have been flocking to India, in fact, for launching their satellites. Take a look.
The lift did not merely put satellites in the orbit, it also catapulted India as the undisputed market leader in launching space satellites with minimum cost. The Indian Space Research Organization or ISRO successfully launched a record 20 satellites in a single mission from Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh on Wednesday morning. Satellites of 4 countries, US, Indonesia, Canada and Germany were launched simultaneously along with satellite of Google, besides a host of Indian satellites. With the current launch, ISRO has again proved its credentials and ability to get the work done within a limited budget. Wednesday's mission was the first time that ISRO launched more than 10 satellites with a single rocket. The low-cost launch is the best endorsement of ISRO and its technological prowess. It is sure to draw more and more countries to use India's infrastructure.
Our PSLV has become more or less standardized. So we would like to continue on the PSLV in the current mode of operation, but look at mechanisms for reducing the cost of access to space and also bringing in some new capabilities in other.
Space Agency will be announcing a scheme by the end of this year that will offer opportunity to industry as well as the academia to build satellites for specific applications. It's a win-win situation for academia, industry and ISRO as a cheap commercial proposition which benefits everyone.
See, one of the things in future what we are looking at is for promoting the technology development in industry as well as in academic institutions. We are thinking of coming up with a mechanism where we will be offering an opportunity for academia or industry or a combination of them to build a satellite for a specific application based on a selection process that could be launched.
India has already made its name when it comes to low-cost technology. Mangalyaan mission at the cost of 450 crore rupees was the least expensive Mars mission to date. The space agency is working with the industry to increase the number of launches to 12 to 18 a year. Towards this end, a second vehicle assembly building is getting ready at Sriharikota launch pad. ISRO will launch the SARC satellite between December 2016 and March next year. ISRO is also working towards miniaturization of spacecrafts and satellites. Bureau Report, DD News.
So there you heard some of what ISRO is working on. What are the possibilities here because of this launch? Let's examine it more in detail. We have Gauhar Raza with us. He's a scientist with CSIR. Welcome, Raza Saab. If I could first ask you, this is great. And we're all feeling very proud at this moment because of this achievement of ISRO. It's broken its own record. But what does it actually mean for India?
All of us have a reason to be proud today, because today we've crossed one more limit. For a person who is a layman, who doesn't know about very high speed moving objects, 10 satellites, 11 satellites and 20 satellites being put in space, it doesn't matter. Once you have done 10, you can probably do 20. No, that doesn't happen. When you are talking about the speeds of the order of about 7 kilometers per second, it's huge, mind-boggling speed. Even a pin that is added to that huge, big object we see and adore very often these days, because ISRO has become habitual
PSLV launches this year itself.
achieving big, good and normal launches. See, even a very simple screw that is to be changed means a lot. Okay. It's a challenge. It's a challenge because anything going wrong at those speeds becomes dangerous for the entire project.
Okay.
And therefore, we also keep hearing that 48-hour countdown has started, 1 week countdown has started. Why these countdown? Because you cannot take chances which are dangerous for the entire mission. You just cannot leave anything to any chance. You have to take care of every little bit of the entire structure.
How has this been done? Because ISRO apparently doesn't even test that much, because testing too many times is also, it adds to the cost. It optimizes and then uses a lot of data that it gathers from its trials, and then does it?
See, when you standardize certain things, the testing is done at a different level. When you haven't standardized, then the tests are much more stringent. You need to generate the data then and there if there is some new feature being added. Here, we knew that the payload we can bear with, which means that this sturdy horse that takes everything there is very sturdy. That we know. Placing all 20 of them, and then it's not that you just want to launch them.
Right.
When you are launching them, you want them to work for whatever period they are meant for. So, ultimate aim is that these objects, which are satellites, whether they are small or big, they should be working there. Now, in order to achieve that, you have to have testing which is standardized again for every bit of the entire structure. What is remarkable is that we have been able to graduate suddenly from 10 to 20. We've not been able to do only that. We have placed them perfectly in different orbits. That is a very, very tricky operation. It's not something easy, because for that, as we scientists call it, you have to come to zero velocity, which means that the motor and the engine has to be shut off. Then you inject, then you again start the whole thing, and then it graduates to a next orbit, which is where you inject the second set of. Doing this maneuver is extremely complex.
Okay.
It has to be done within seconds and minutes, and that too to an object which is moving at 7,600 kilometers per second, which is huge. It's mind-boggling. It cannot be achieved by novices. ISRO has a history of gaining experience and doing things.
And ISRO has become quite reliable as well, and that in itself has implications as far as commercial operations and the commercial aspect of India's space mission is concerned. We'll talk about that as well in just a bit. Stay tuned to this special show on DD News.
ये साइड से थोड़े छोटे कर दे जल्दी।
ये वाला सर?
क्या है?
सर ये साइड से?
नहीं
नोज पियर्सिंग यहाँ पे
परफेक्ट हो जाएगा मैम।
बिल्कुल दर्द नहीं होगा, पता भी नहीं चलेगा आपको।
कुछ ऐसा ही करते हैं आप अपने गियरलेस स्कूटर के साथ। गियरलेस स्कूटर में कोई भी 40 ऑयल नहीं, सिर्फ सर्वो स्कूटोमैटिक 4ST ही डालिए। इसके फ्रिक्शन मॉडिफायर्स इंजन की परफॉर्मेंस बढ़ाए और आपकी राइड स्मूदर बनाए। सर्वो स्कूटोमैटिक 4ST।
भारत है हमारा, हम है सहारा। आत्मविश्वास की नई ताकत सहारा इंडिया लाइफ इंश्योरेंस के साथ।
जिसने चलना सिखाया, कड़ी मेहनत करके हमको पढ़ाया, हमारी खुशियों को अपनी खुशी बनाया, जिंदगी के हर सुख दुख में जो एक साया बनकर साथ रहे, ढलती उम्र में इन्हें अकेला ना छोड़ें। ध्यान रखें, माता पिता एवं वरिष्ठ नागरिक भरण पोषण एवं कल्याण अधिनियम 2007 के तहत माता पिता की देखभाल करना हमारा कर्तव्य है और उनको बेसहारा छोड़ना एक दंडनीय अपराध है। सामाजिक न्याय और अधिकारिता मंत्रालय, भारत सरकार द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
Welcome back. We're talking about ISRO's historic success with the launch of 20 satellites at one go. That's what the Prime Minister also said. And we have Gohar Raza in our studio with us. We're also joined now by well-known science journalist and author Pallava Bagla. Welcome, Pallava. What do you make of the aspect of that is in fact talked about most now is that this is a huge boost as far as the commercial activities of ISRO are concerned?
Certainly, it is a huge boost not only for the commercial activities but also for India and the world. This is a significant launch. While India's space program remains very focused on meeting the national needs, but wherever there is surplus capacity available on rockets, it is being made available for commercial launches. So in this launch where there were 20 satellites, one was Indian, the main passenger Cartosat, 2 got a free ride which were Indian student and academic community satellites, and 17 of them were taken as paying passengers.
Right.
So India used the PSLV as a very effective taxi.
And we're going to see more and more of this. In fact, do you feel that this is something that has other space agencies or enterprises now, because there are private enterprises in the US, they're a little worried?
I don't think the private enterprises are going to be very worried because they have their own ways of doing their stuff. if Google, a large company, can choose India as a destination to launch its satellites, then SpaceX should be worried that in times to come, the 50% less charge which happens on Indian rockets would attract businesses from America and Europe towards India. So this was really a watershed moment for the Indian Space Research Organization, and they did very well in this particular launch. It was a gloriously successful launch, and it has shown to the world that not only can India do its missions within cost, but also do it very successfully, launching multiple satellites in one orbit in one go.
Right, and Gauhar, do you feel that there is scope here for then for ISRO to become almost self-funding if this sort of successful activity is replicated over and over again?
I think with the going pace at which ISRO is going through the transformation also, and thinking about huge projects, ISRO will never be self-financing kind of, because their goals are expanding at a much faster rate at which they will be probably earning. And I don't think that that should be the goal,
right?
That it should become a self-funding organization. I think government, India, Indian people should always keep on supporting it. That should be the focus. That ultimately it is going to serve the humanity, ultimately it's going to serve the common man. However, as Pallav also has pointed out, that it is going to attract huge amount of business. There is no doubt about it. One of the parameters which generally people are not touching is that if I, as a nation, make a satellite, I am unable to launch it, then I can't keep it. I can't wait for X, Y, Z launch.
Naturally, it's a waste of resources.
Because keeping it is expensive again, very expensive. So I'll be looking for those who can quickly give me opportunity to launch it. If India is going to develop the capability, as our colleagues are saying that that is their target, that from 12 to 18 launches a year, then obviously we are going to get a lot of business from across the world, from developing countries as well as developed countries.
Naturally.
And we will be also serving the humanity.
Okay, so you spoke about the PSLV. Now, PSLV is India's workhorse as far as launching satellites are concerned, but we'll talk about, what are the other prospects as well in terms of launching satellites after just a short break. Do stay tuned to the special show.
जीवन में
फॉर्म के कितने पैसे हुए साहब?
आप फॉर्म भरिए और अंदर जाकर अपना पंजीकरण करवाइए।
भोर हुई जीवन में।
अच्छा, अब आप लोग जा सकते हैं। आपने जो मोबाइल नंबर दिया है उस पर आधार नंबर से संबंधित मैसेज भेज दिए जाए।
पैसे कितने हुए आप लोग बताते क्यों नहीं?
ये भारत सरकार की ओर से देश के सभी निवासियों के लिए निःशुल्क सेवा है।
आधार नंबर की पंजीकरण प्रक्रिया बिल्कुल निःशुल्क है।
उंगली थाम के जिसने चलना सिखाया, कड़ी मेहनत करके हमको पढ़ाया, हमारी खुशियों को अपनी खुशी बनाया, जिंदगी के हर सुख दुख में जो एक साया बनकर साथ रहे, ढलती उम्र में इन्हें अकेला ना छोड़ें। ध्यान रखें, माता पिता एवं वरिष्ठ नागरिक भरण पोषण एवं कल्याण अधिनियम 2007 के तहत माता पिता की देखभाल करना हमारा कर्तव्य है और उनको बेसहारा छोड़ना एक दंडनीय अपराध है। सामाजिक न्याय और अधिकारिता मंत्रालय, भारत सरकार द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
Welcome back. We're talking about ISRO's historical success, that feat of putting 20 satellites in space at the same time with just a single launch. We have Gohar Raza in our studio, scientist CSIR. We also have Pallava Bagla, well-known space, I beg your pardon, science journalist and author. Pallava, you were talking about, you know, how PSLV is doing it for ISRO in India. But in terms of, you know, ramping up these capabilities of launches, and also because we need to put bigger satellites in space for which we are still developing a capability, and the reusable launch vehicle, could you talk about how these could also add to the future prospects?
Oh, certainly. See, the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle had its 35th consecutively successful launch, which is a very enviable record. Now, towards the end of the year, we will see the first fully indigenous launch of the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark III, which is the heaviest duty rocket which India deploys. And that particular launch will put India into a class where it can take 4,000 to 5,000 kilogram satellites into space. And very recently, scientists at ISRO had demonstrated that a mini space shuttle or a Swadeshi space shuttle could also be launched and then brought back on Earth. If that becomes successful in the next decade, as ISRO plans, then the launch cost would come down by 10 times. And that would be a very significant number. And that benefits not only India, but benefits the entire world. Because if you can make cheaper infrastructure in space, it will help the entire world to do that. And that would make life easier for you and me, because all the benefits which ISRO's technology give are for the armed army.
You
and
said
today one sees.
You said the reusable launch vehicle. You said the reusable launch vehicle could take as much as 10 years. Gohar Raza, could you explain why would it take you know, a decade?
Excuse me. All these missions are cannot be done in jiffy.
Naturally.
See, what we see there is developed not only at ISRO at one place in one laboratory, but a lot of technologies go into it. So, going a step further, where relaunch vehicle is designed, a lot of data has to be generated here. Nobody is going to give you this data. A lot of things have to be tested. A lot of things have to be generated and innovated in India,
and
within
India. We can't use what the Americans developed and what data they might have, because their technology is different and perhaps older than ours. We're looking at
one, that it's older,
like the next
two,
generation.
that nobody is going to share with you the crucial data on various things. And each and every, as I've been emphasizing right from the beginning, that even a screw is important. The technology is important, what kind of material goes into it, what kind of tiles you use, what kind of resistance material, what kind of paints you use. All this has to be developed. Nobody is going to tell you and give you the last detail of it. We can learn a lot from others, and we have equal amount of probably knowledge to give to the world. But these missions have to be forward-looking missions. There has to be continuity in them. You can't relax. We have done this.
Be impatient either.
You cannot be impatient either. We have taken from 60s to 70s to 80s to 90s, and now today we can very proudly say that we are equal to anybody in the world. In certain areas we have to learn, in certain areas we have to teach the world and scientific community. One of the things that now shift has to come about is that we have mastered the technology. GSLV we are going to master. We have a lot to learn there. We have to have many launches there. But now, once we have confidence that we know the technology, we can develop it, innovate it, we have to graduate to scientific missions. Scientific missions will take a large number of coordination and networking of universities,
Mhm.
which has begun.
Right.
Which is why I am calling it a major step towards scientific mission. This particular, I'm very happy as a scientist because of that.
Okay.
A lot of other institutions have to come forward and throw the questions.
What kind of
which are
scientific missions are you talking about specifically?
right from testing the biotechnology questions in this space to communication.
Right.
That what lags are there, what happens when signals are transformed, etc.
And this will be of direct relevance to people, right?
Absolutely. And these will be the questions which are going to also benefit the humanity, entire humanity. Once you ask a question, what happens in deeper spaces, and answer the question of what is mass. Then
This will also give then Pallava a lot of opportunity and a lot of encouragement to ISRO to go in that direction as well in exploring space through probably launching deep space telescopes or another explorative satellite like Mangalyaan.
Certainly. See, India already has its first space observatory in space in the form of Astrosat.
Right.
India did Chandrayaan-1, India did Mangalyaan. Now there's a follow-up mission for Chandrayaan-2, which is not just an orbiter mission of Moon, it is a lander and a rover.
Okay.
And subsequently, India also plans to go to revisit Mars, and then also India is thinking of going to an asteroid and probably all the way to Venus. And don't forget, NASA wants to cooperate with India in a very big way, and when the first boots are put on Mars, I would not be surprised if it's a joint mission between ISRO and NASA when the first human beings go and colonize Mars.
Well, that will be something, won't it? It's a double thumbs up for ISRO as far as our two guests are concerned, and the country, in fact, as well, celebrating this moment, really relishing it from the Prime Minister to every person who might even be aware of what is really happening in the space area. But we will look forward to more successes from ISRO coming in the next few months and years. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening. For the moment, Pallava and Gauhar Raza, we will keep you updated on all these ISRO's moves on DD News. Do stay tuned for all the latest right here to DD News.
Majestic liftoff. Majestic liftoff. That goes back.